Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Tuesday topic. And nobody sends a video in.
That's why.
It's disappointing.
That's why the laptop's here.
Oh, the laptop here, is it?
Scando was being in touch.
Okay.
Long time patron. And has said, hi guys. How does Carlo address the last two results? Can he use them to leverage brands and the board? What will he take as positives from them, the two results? What areas of concern has it highlighted, and will he be able to train the error out of the players, or will it just mean moving the players on and replacing them? Thanks, Scando. I'd like to more of you to send a video, but there you go.
Send a video.
There you go.
Phone like that.
Yeah.
Phone like that. Just video it, saying what you're saying, and send it in.
Send all the videos in.
It feels better.
Send them
when you
all
send
in.
them in. Feels better. It's your channel.
So, the last two results. What can we take from them? What will Carlo have learned? Do you think it's a chance for him to use it against the board? Or is it simply more time on a training pitch? So we'll go through.
Let me ask you a question, Mike. Before we start, let me ask you a
go
question.
Go on.
Do you think fans of Aston Villa are sitting down having these conversations? Or is it just us?
I'm sure some Villa fans are.
Yeah.
I'm
it's
sure.
Fine. I'm just.
I think for Villa, this might be massively arrogant of me, massively
Yeah.
but they stayed up with 8 minutes left of the season.
That's cool.
And the next minute they were joint top of the
Yeah.
league, or they'd won the first 10 games. They've lost the last couple.
Yeah.
I mean, they got beat 3-0 at home by Leeds United, which is quite difficult to do. And then they got beat, they were 4-0 down the other day, and they got back
4-1 down.
4-1 was it? Or 3-1. So they were 4-1 down, got it back to 4-3. So two thumping home defeats, really. I mean, 2 goals in injury time the other day made it look more respectable.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they're just looking and going, well, we've had a great start. They're 2 very disappointing defeats at home. But we'll go again this weekend before the international break. And maybe, just maybe, that's what Everton should be doing. We should be doing.
Leicester City. They've had two home defeats. I know they won the last game 4-1, beat Leeds. Great win.
Arsenal a week before.
But before that, they'd had 2 home defeats.
Yeah, they lost 2 home games. Yeah. So what are you just saying, do you think we're just overanalyzing it?
I think as Evertonians, we do overanalyse everything. And because we are coming off the back of those 2 defeats, it feels like we're on a complete massive downward spiral, even though we're 4th in the league.
Yeah.
Even though a win on Saturday will probably put us back top of the league for whatever time being.
Yeah.
Because of the kick-off times. So I do think we all overanalyse. But that's fine. That's what we're here to do anyway.
Do you think there's been an overreaction?
I think you've got to put certainly the teams, the lineup, into. You've got to use that as where you start,
as well, yeah.
and think how. And I think, listen, when you're missing your best players, that's when you look under the surface and see what you've got. That's what marks you out. Premier League isn't won. Or certainly Champions League places aren't filled by teams who haven't got squads.
No.
And that's a simple fact. That's not me sitting here being a defeatist or thinking what happened on Sunday was acceptable or anything. But I think we've said it loads of times. You're putting the same players in the team that have let us down time and time again and expecting something different from them. And it just isn't going to happen. I don't think, and I think it's that realization that, I think it's because it's quite early on in the season that it's like we had the highs, real highs, and now a couple of defeats we feel really, really low. I suppose it's when we get to that period where it sort of evens itself out a little bit that maybe we can get a bit more perspective on it. It only takes 1 win to get that back, by the way, and then you're like, a win on Saturday and suddenly everyone's feeling great again. But I think when you've come off 2 defeats, there is that just general feeling of where do we get our next win from? So I think it's about being realistic more than anything. But let's get into what...
I mean, what I'd say, just quickly before we get into it, is that I think you're right. I think if you're going to suffer injuries and suspensions throughout the season, you need a better quality squad. And those with the better squads generally finish higher up the table. I don't think it's beyond Everton to finish in the Champions League places. But I wouldn't say we're one of the favourites for it, of course I wouldn't. Leicester haven't got that much of a squad. If they lost 4 players, they'd be in trouble, especially if one of them was Jamie Vardy. But yet they're really good away from home, aren't they? There's other teams. And that Leicester showed that last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
The squad depth. They were second on at Christmas. And they were still going for the Champions League place on the final day, and they fell out of it by United, who have got a bit of a stronger squad. So maybe that will undo Everton in terms of where they're going.
Just with Leicester for a moment, I think they are without 4 or 5 good players at the moment, but I think the difference is they've had an extra year under the belt of knowing how to play what Brendan Rodgers wants. So therefore, it's a year of everybody who is there understanding what they need to do. So when those players come in, those players understand. And I think certainly going off what happened on Sunday, the manager changed the formation because doesn't believe he's got the players who can play the 4-3-3 system the way he wants to play it. So that's players, but that's also a system that runs through the club that is not getting utilised every single week. And I think that comes back to the squad as well, being able to just go in and out, in and out, in and out. And even if you haven't got players who are as good as your first team, which you never will do, because that's why it's your first team. But having players who understand when they come in what is expected of them, and it's when you've got someone like Jamie Vardy, makes a massive difference. He basically played he can basically play up front on his own and be the left winger and the right winger at the same time. He's so versatile in terms of his movement and his speed, and how he allows the midfield to have to get back and regroup. And
the one difference I'd say between the two teams, because there's still Dominic Calvert-Lewin is still outscoring them, isn't he? And he could end up outscoring them, we don't know. Vardy does it every year, so you've got to give him more credit, because I think Vardy's incredible. But Leicester have goals from other areas of the team, and at the moment Everton aren't showing that. So if you take Richarlison and Rodriguez out, where's the goals coming from? And I think that's the biggest indicator for me. And this is what ultimately, and I still feel though that if Leicester lose Vardy, the results would drop right off, because I don't think they haven't got someone who can. Iniacho is nowhere near the player he is.
That's it.
And he can't do it. But someone like United, for argument's sake, they've got that front three that can all get. Mason Greenwood, do people, everyone thinks he's a good player, of course they do, but that's a lad that, I think he got about 16 goals or something last year in the league, and he can score. Martial can get goals, Rashford can get goals, they've also got a Gallo, they've got Cavani.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of goals, United, in their squad, and I think, again, for Everton's sake, that's where they've got to be looking at as we move forward. Yeah. But on to Scando's question. So the first part of it is, do we think that the manager will use these 2 results to leverage Brands on the board with the squad?
No, because I don't look at it like that. I think, and I don't know. Listen, I heard this yesterday saying, what we did was almost like him saying, I need more. Everyone knows we need more. There are at least 4 players at Everton, I think, at the moment, that Carlo Ancelotti would happily see leave and get replacements for, that are his replacements. And ultimately, that's the thing. The replacements don't have to be the quality of better than players we've already got in the first team, but they're players that he can rely on to come in. You look at someone like Godfrey as an example of the kind of player you want to be your backup. Young, hungry, athletic, strong, fast, all those things. And if you get those players in, rather than, if you're replacing a Gylfi Sigurdsson with a 21-year-old midfielder who can come in and do a really good job for you and grow, and at least can get round the pitch, and the same about someone who can come in to replace, like, say, a Bernard, and then someone like who can replace a Delph, or even an Andre Gomez or whatever, then I think that's organic. That's organic. A right back who's going to eventually take Seamus Coleman's place. They're organic signings that it's natural wastage. I don't think anyone needs to tell Marcel Brands that, or anyone at the club that. I think that'll be the next thing that we try and do next summer. Who knows? Maybe we'll get one of them in January if we nearly need to. Maybe we've already got someone like Gabaman coming back, so that's one straight away. If he comes back and he's fit, we've already got Mason Holgate, and Ben Godfrey, who are going to challenge for the centre back role as is Jared Branthwaite. So just on the injury front, we've got players who can come back. But I don't think it's a message, because I don't think that's how. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think we went out in the summer, didn't we? We got the players we need. We brought 4 players in, of various ages, various stages of their career. We brought Nkunku in as well. We ended with a goalkeeper as well. We brought 6 players in, really. So what I find it difficult to sit here and say, well, he could have done more, he could have done this, or he could have done that. They obviously looked at other positions and felt like they had enough cover there for the time being. And I think you got to let some bed in first, and then bring the next ones in as well.
Do you think it's? I agree with you. I don't think it was a message to say, look what I've got. This is what I'm working with. Because if I was in the boardroom, I'd be sitting there saying, yeah, but those other players you brought in cost us a lot of money. Awobi, £30 million. Bernard, okay, he was free, but he's on huge wages. Andre Gomez was back. We paid 22 million for him, paid a lot of money. Fabian Delph, big wages, 8 million quid. It's not like we brought, Gylfi Sigurdsson, 40 million quid. It's not like he's had to bring in, when we bought him for 300 grand from Hartlepool, and we bought him for 2 million from Wigan. They were international footballers who all come in. In fact, every one of them has played for the country, haven't he? So whether or not the manager thinks they're good enough is irrelevant. Everton have spent a lot of money on them. But I think you're right. I think maybe what it is the patience thing.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, at the moment, I said this yesterday, that's the way life is at the moment. I think sometimes you're hoping for something to carry you along. And I think the worst thing Everton could have done, ironically, was start the season with 4 wins. Because I think what it does is, it doesn't prepare you for the down straight away. And you just said it, I think if you'd have said to me, after 7 games, we'll be a win off the top, we'll have won 4, lost 2 and drawn 1, all day long, I'd have took it every day that we'd have all been made up with that. If you'd have said that the day before Spurs, we'd have all gone, sound, we've got Tottenham, we've got Liverpool, a couple of tricky games here and there. We'd have been delighted with it. It was just that we won every game. Won the first 7, which is incredible. And then drew with Liverpool, and there was reasons. But there's also reasons why we haven't won since. Yeah. We haven't had Richarlison, we haven't had Luca Dean, James Rodriguez hasn't been fit since the derby. We lost Seamus Coleman, who I think the way he started the season has proven a huge loss to us, isn't he? And so I think you're right. I think we're probably all looking at it as if we're another year down the line with this squad, where realistically the manager's been here 10 months. Yeah. You just said it there, we got to the summer and got exactly what we needed. I've said it many times. If we could have only brought 2 players in this summer, it would have been Alan and Decore, and we'd have gone from there with what we had, and I'd have still thought we had a decent side to finish. I still would have thought we could finish top 8 if everybody was fit. Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin doing what they did, was just with those 2 midfielders. We got James Rodriguez, which is a huge bonus for us. Ben Godfrey, like you just said, cracking young talent. You've got a year more of Holgate's progression. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's an absolute handful now. He's a star up front for us. So there's a lot of positives to take from it. I don't personally, Scando, I don't think that it is a message. I think what it does do, it does put a message out for everybody, the board, brands, everybody, to say who we're relying on aren't good enough. You said it before, the same players have let us down over and over again. So there is that message there, but I don't think that was in his thinking to lay it bare. I just think what it does do is it proves that we haven't got quality in the final third. It's something, I don't think we disagree, but there's the Josh King thing or any other forward would have been a good thing to keep hold of. I'd have kept Moise Keane. If I'd have known for a fact we weren't getting a replacement, I'd have kept Moise Keane, I think. And not that I think he's great, but he was a body, and I think that's where we're short. But I understand why we didn't. And so that may be the only reason why we're struggling so much because we've lost 2 of the front 3. I was talking to Paul from the Redmen before, and you know, it's only really this season, he said, that they've actually got people who can come in and replace. If they lost 2 of their front 3, they've had them fit for 3 years, basically, without injury. We haven't had that luxury at the moment. We may go the rest of the season without losing any of them, and that'd be amazing. And that would give Everton a great chance of finishing in the European places. Just at the moment, I don't think it's a message. The second point will be, what do you think Carlo will have taken from these 2 defeats?
Well, for me, he'll have taken that there are certain players you can't play together. There are players that can't play in certain positions, and I think that's a big part of like the fact-finding mission, isn't it? Of what you do as a manager. It's like you can put them in training and you can watch players playing against each other in training all day or whatever, but when it comes to a match, what can they do? And I think he's given some of them a chance, enough rope, and I think that, you know, we know what they're doing, some of them, and that will tell him that, like last season, the end of last season, it's the idea of like, well, these aren't good enough, but what else have I got? He would have, you know, the likes of Sigurdsson can come in, I think, and play when there's 10 other outfielders that are available, or 9 other outfielders, sorry, that are available, and the same maybe for a Iwobi off the bench, or maybe start a game in the number 8. Gomez, when everything's going well, is a good fit for number 8, but maybe you've got to know when it's not the right time, and who can you replace him with. And I think for me, it's a case of finding out almost the sequences you can play players. Yeah. That makes sense. Like I was almost on the final word about the right order to bring subs on, because if you bring in the right order, you might not need one of the other players to come on, because basically you bring them too many on. You know, you bring on, you know, when like on Sunday, I personally felt if he'd left Nkunku on, he could have took Delph on, and then you've got more attacking options in different areas rather than, you know, the way it ended up being. That's all you can do, isn't it? All you can do is learn. You can learn about how players fit together. He'll have gone away in the summer and gone, right, we need centre midfielders and we need some more creativity. And I want to play 4-3-3 if I get James Rodriguez, say, put Richarlison on one side. And now it's like, well, what do I do if I haven't got James Rodriguez and Richarlison? Let's not forget, I need to reiterate this point. This is all Richarlison's fault.
Yeah.
Right? This is all Richarlison's fault. What's happening at the moment. Yeah. Because if he was playing, I don't think we get beaten those 2 games. That's how important he is to our team. But it's down to him. He got himself sent off for something which was ridiculous. And I think so that when a manager sits down and says, I'm going with these players, he expects a certain amount of responsibility from those players. Yeah. And one of them is, don't be getting yourself sent off for something like that. The Dean one is a little bit different, because it ends up being a foul while during the play of a game. And that happens. But the Richarlison one, 3-match bans don't get thrown around that much anymore. It has to be, and his was really bad. It was really bad. And that has to be one of those where the manager and Marcel Brands, whoever goes, that shouldn't be happening. He's a forward player. He shouldn't be doing things like that. You know, he should not be doing things like that. And that's a big part of where we are. The other side of it, you'd go, James Rodriguez. It's like, well, the injury, maybe now you've got to look at it and go, that's a freak injury in a way, where he comes back for a week, he plays in the game, and it's not gone away, and now we're going to have to rest him, because if you don't rest him, it's you're dealing with it every game. You're not getting 100%, so we're just going to leave him out. And I just think it's about managing players, and listen, we've got a manager who knows how to manage players, and you could see that after the game. You can tell when he's disappointed with his players, and I think sometimes you can tell when he's disappointed that what he's done hasn't worked the way he thought it would be. And again, it comes down to players. I think, you know, whether we think it's negative or not, what he said was, certainly after Sunday, was, if you don't make stupid mistakes, we don't lose that game. And he knows the higher you go, there's less chance of players making stupid mistakes. I
think that's right. Again, Sunday, obviously, when there's space between the games, you calm down, don't you, and you look at things again. And I was looking at stuff for the numbers. I haven't done it yet, but I was looking at stuff for the numbers show today, and there was a tactical plan in place that was working. It was working, and you know, if Everton had come out of the game with a 0-0, we might have been frustrated we hadn't won the game, but we'd have had a clean sheet, we'd have had an extra point. It'd have broke the thing, you know, we'd have gone on with that. And we didn't. We gave a stupid penalty away. Whether people think it or not, I've seen some saying it was, I've seen a lot of people adamant it wasn't. It was a soft one. The referees give it. Yeah. You have to deal with it. But we give it, and it could have been avoided. Yeah. If Gomez was chasing and he couldn't get him and he clipped him, it's one of them, isn't it? It was a silly penalty. We might have got out of that. Who knows, if that game would have gone on and on, we might have fashioned one chance for Dom and won the game 1-0, and then we would have gone tactical brilliance from Ancelotti. That we don't like to see it, but sometimes I think maybe we do. Maybe we all just need to go, well, he looks at it game by game, and some games he might play tactically to bore the life out of a team and nick it, because then you'll talk about him being a brilliant manager tactically. And maybe that's what you do need to do to win stuff. Yeah. Sometimes you have to adopt a different game plan. Grind the results out. So I think what he'll have learned for the last two, I think you're right with the combinations. I think we can get away with 2 players if we've got our full strength team, bringing 2 of those lads in. When 4 of them are coming into the team, we're just simply going back to before lockdown. It doesn't matter that we've got Alan and Decore. If you haven't got 2 of your... Well, we didn't have 4 of our most creative players at the weekend. So he might have learned that. He might have learned from it. We need more creativity. I think we all know that. Yeah. What Everton need is, I've said it before, talking about Leicester, we need other players who've got goals in them. I thought Iwobi would be comfortable enough to get 5 goals. Not a lot, really, from an attacking player. He got 1 last season. He's not showed. Yeah. Creative-wise, he can create things. He did on Sunday, another assist for him at the weekend, and he created something for Calvert-Lewin. But Bernard doesn't look like he's going to score you a goal. No. Does he? Sigurdsson's just hitting anything and open that he gets one on target. Now there's no measure in his shooting anymore. He's getting rash and rasher. So I think if he's going to learn anything out the 2 games, it'll be that, yes, A, then players can't really play together. We need different answers. And B, moving forward, we need players who can bring us goals. So it isn't always down to Dom.
We need players. I think we need better players at a different stage of their careers. And I know a lot of people talk about Anthony Gordon and where he is, but I still think he's just below where we need him to be. And I think there is this thing of like just throwing players in just because other players aren't doing it.
But then didn't Dom get thrown in when he wasn't ready and it helped his development? Because there was so many times I watched Dominic Calvert-Lewin and just thought,
I get that.
What's he bringing?
I think Dom was definitely, he was made by the fact that the team
had to play.
The team was poor and we didn't have another striker, and it has made him. But it took him 4 years, didn't it? Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it was a journey worthwhile in the end. But for someone like Anthony Gordon, the manager will look at it and think that don't get me wrong, there'll be a point where there'll be a crossover where experience. He'll think the level of experience will run out. And he obviously feels at the moment that he prefers experienced players who can tactically take stuff. Because this is the other thing about it as well. Yeah. You've got to tactically take things on board, haven't you? You've got to be able to go out with a game plan. And this is a big thing. I think that stops a lot of young players actually making it, is that we see them on the pitch and we maybe in the 23s and they've got the raw. They can't take... I think this is actually Moise Keane's biggest problem, is that they can't take tactical things on board. They go on and do their own thing. And maybe Anthony Gordon's just not quite understanding the process at the moment. And I don't know. But obviously the manager feels like the players he puts on may take that a little bit more on board. But that'll soon run out if they're not doing their job. And Anthony Gordon will get that chance. Anthony Gordon is a young lad who played a handful of games for the under-23s and then got into the first team squad because they obviously seen he had something about him. But you got to reiterate, this isn't a kid for me who's like going to be like Wayne Rooney coming off the bench. He's going to be a slow burner as he builds himself up physically. Yeah. And I think there's a responsibility within the club for the players we've got. Because it's not just one player, it's a couple of players that are possibly ahead of him. But I think that'll come, no problem. And I just think it'll be organic.
This manager gave him his Premier League debut, didn't he? Brought him on at West Ham and then gave him his first full start. It was in the Merseyside derby when he was obviously doing well. So the manager, no. I just thought, like I've said before, at the weekend he's like for the Charleston, which is why I had to put him on. Not the same quality, but the same runs and everything. But he'll do what he does. So obviously, Scando's last point was, these players that we've highlighted and the players who come in, is there any hope that the manager can train them to be what he wants? Or is it simply now almost a buying time exercise till he can get them out the club and replace them? I mean,
I think individually, they've all got a job to do. I think Sigurdsson can still come in and do a job. I think Gomez can come in and do a job. I think Fabian Delph can come in and do a job. Awobi, maybe he's played in the number 8 position, could do a job coming off the bench. It'll be interesting when Gabaman's back. I'm going to say back, I mean, when he's ready, and it's so difficult with him because the expectations are as soon as he's fit it'll be fine, but it won't be because he'll take time to adjust. We've seen that when he started. First couple of games, the speed of the Premier League was massive, and you can imagine it now going in November, December time, whatever, January time.
But do you think it might help him now because you'll have Alan and Decore in there?
Possibly so. He's not.
Last season.
Possibly so. He's not. There's not going to be the massive responsibility on him, I don't think. But also, though, it'd be like, well, there's a chance for you here, and it'll be interesting to see how he's used straight off the bat and whether he's whether he's comfortable or whether he can take. I think they'll bed him in over months. And then it's a case of like, listen, it's November. Nothing's going to happen in January. I imagine from out. Can't really see it. Maybe because you want one in or whatever. But
I think Bernard will go.
He could do, yeah, he could do. But I think you want Anthony Gordon to push him there, and maybe then that helps alleviate, the issue. But I think it's just going to be like. It's going to be not one at a time, but if a decent offer comes in and they think it's worth it and they can get someone in, then I think that all those players organically are going to go. Sigurdsson's 31, or is he 31?
Yeah,
He'll have a year left on his contract.
Next summer.
So you'd be looking and thinking, can we get him out? Delph will have a year left on his contract. The end of the summer.
31.
You'd be looking at him going, can we get him out?
Yeah.
Gomez will have a couple of years on his contract, 28. I still think there's something there.
Bernard will be the one.
I'm pretty sure Bernard will go.
Yeah.
And obviously we got rid of Balassi and Bessage will have gone as well, just in case, in terms of squad players.
I think Tosin will go.
I think Tosin will go in January.
Yeah.
If we can get someone in. Josh King, £3 million, £4 million.
Anyone else, yeah. Even a loan, mate. Well, Millet is another one.
I could see Palace coming back for Tosin.
Can you?
Yeah, I could see that. It's same. Everything's to set up the same.
The same, yeah. Take him on loan.
Take him on loan
with a view to pay him.
So, but you've got to, haven't you? That's got to be the process now. It's got to be. When you talk Sigurdsson 31, Delph 31, both last year, you've got to be looking to get rid of those players right then. Yeah. Otherwise, they're going the year after for nothing. So you've got to be looking to get rid of them.
You want to save the money on the wages, don't you? Like we've done.
Seamus will be a year older, so you're looking to get a fair.
We'll only have a year left on him.
I'd like, to me, next summer is like first deal. Got to be a right back that takes Seamus Coleman's place. Got to be. There's nowhere else position on the pitch for me that you go, well, we're
wide for me, but yeah.
No, but Yeah, but he opens up this.
No, he does,
a
yeah.
top-class right-back opens up this. I think we would have won on Sunday if we had James Coleman. I think that's how important that position is to us, because I think he opens up the pitch the same way Luca Dean does. A top-class right-back opens up Everton.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you know, James Rodriguez has got loads more time and space, and he opens up the pitch.
Yeah.
So I think, but I think all those players will all be. They have to be weeded out. There's no ifs and buts and maybes. Those players have to be weeded out. Start with Delph and Sigurdsson because of their age and because of the years left on the contract, and you start weeding them out. You've got to. The whole of this team, or the thing what's happened in the last 5 years, is all based on the manager having to deal with the manager before signings and not getting enough time to process through, but at the same time buying his own crap. So every manager going after him has to deal with the last manager's crap. I think we're in a position now, and this is where probably we know where patience is called for, where the manager needs to have time, which is probably 2-3 summers where it'll be tough, but we should get better at every step.
Well, you mentioned before, like, but Andy, the Piv, we were talking last night, weren't we, about it, Leicester and Wolves, and they followed they're 4, and I mean Leicester have had that director of football in place for the last 5 years, I think, or something like that, 4 or 5 years, following a plan. Wolves have had their team in place for 6 years. So, although the last 3 years have been in the Premier League, 4 if you include the Championship, they've been doing the same thing. And Leicester, even though they changed out Puel and stuff and Rodgers coming, they were still buying they were buying younger players even when Walsh was there and Ranieri, weren't they? They started that model. So, even for 4 years, those two teams have been doing the same thing. Yeah. And that's why you see the benefit of where they are. And where we haven't, we've had to rip it up every year and go, we'll start again now. And this is what we're seeing.
And you want to bring in a 29-year-old on the 90th?
No, I know. No, listen, I'm the one, I said that straight away. No, I was saying straight away, I understand why we didn't. Yeah. I do, but the flip side is, it's when you look, it's that short-termism, isn't it? You look and go, we need cover. Though we both sat here the week of that window going, if we got Josh Kelly, well, to be honest, I wanted Sarr from Watford. Yeah. He's 22, he's a long-term thing. I wanted him, but not for 45, 50 million pounds.
But you will have to pay 45 and 50
probably,
million.
But there was no way to get him.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But that has to be, you have to make, same with the right back, if there's a right back and we really want him and he's 22 and he's amazing and he's 45 million, we're going to have to pay 45 million. And that's what happens then, and that trips down.
I wanted under, and look at him, he's come on the last 2 weeks and set the winner up at Arsenal last week, the goal for Leicester.
But then it becomes,
and he was only 20 million.
Then it becomes, what is your priority? And that's the problem when with financial fair play and everything, you've got to get them out and then you've got to get them in. And when you get them in, you've got to put an order. Our order was centre midfielders. It may be why stopped us getting Gabriel.
Yeah.
You know,
for the way it works.
Just because you have to put things in order.
If you look at like what Scando's saying here with like training, I don't think coaching. I think what coaching will do is make the team understand what their roles are in terms of a framework. I think he can do that, and we can get better at what we're doing. We're already improving at playing out from the back, aren't we? We're getting better. We're not great at it, but we're getting better. We've seen that sometimes where we pass, like Brighton, I think was a great one where we drew them in and we were on the break.
But then that comes from, but that also comes from having, like, it's about having better players. Mason Oke comes back and replaces Yerry Mina. Then you've got a better ball player, and Michael Keane's good on the ball.
What I'm saying is, I think you can do that, but I don't think any amount of training, coaching is going to make Gylfi Sigurdsson any better at 30.
Not going to make John Joe Kenny any faster.
It's not going to make Kenny. It's not going to make Fabian. Fabian Delph knows what he's doing. He's a good footballer. He's not a first choice for us. He's all right as a squad player. Iwobi's probably the only one, I would say, out of the ones who've come in who might still be able to turn it round a little bit and have a bit of a career at Everton. I'm not 100% confident with that because he's had to go wide a few times and it hasn't worked. So I don't know whether, I think Everton will look at him and go, if Palace came in for him, we'd let him go, or, you know, Fulham stayed up and wanted, we'd let him go. Yeah. So really, I think to cap your final points off, it probably really is just about buying time till we can buy better players.
But it's improving
And
while that
swapping
time's
players.
there, though.
Yeah.
We're not, you can't sit here and go, well, we'll have to wait for next summer, we'll have to wait for next summer. It's about the whole team getting better.
Well, it is better.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's about the whole team getting better and growing week by week, win, lose or draw. And then, you know, the next game.
I think it's quite easy to see when you look at our squad now. When we're all calm and everything's settled down. We got 2 goalkeepers who can play now, which is a good thing because let's be honest, Larsson was never playing and Stecklenburg was grim and, you know, Virginia doesn't look up to it yet. Yeah. So last year we had one. So we got 2 keepers, so we're stronger there. Yeah. We need a right back. Definitely. We know that. Seamus, without... John Joe Kenny will make a career as a footballer, no problem with that. Good luck to the lad. He's not going to be a team that wants to get into Europe. No. He's just not. So the right back's a big thing. We've got Luca Dean, who's fabulous, and Nkunku looks like a good prospect. He isn't ready yet, but at least he can do a job. Centre-backs, I think, were sound. We've got 5 now. Yeah. And I think 4 of them, even if I like Yerry Mina, but he's made
6 with Lewis Gibson.
And 6 with Gibson. So centre-back, we are well sorted at centre-back. And then you go into midfield, and we've got Decore, Alan, Tom Davis, decent squad player, Delph, decent squad player. If Gabaman comes into that and does all right, we're all right. And we've got Andre Gomez. It's then, in them attacking zones, we've got Richarlison, James and Calvert-Lewin who are nailed on. Then underneath them, all the question marks start. Bernard, Iwobi, Sigurdsson, and then you're looking at Anthony Gordon's not ready. So the right back, which is what you said before, and the 3 reserve attacking players are where the issues are for Everton, and that will ultimately hold Everton back. If Everton can go the majority of the season having James, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin available, and we can push Ellis Sims on a little bit, and we can push Anthony Gordon on, we'll be fine. We'll be up there because those 3 up the top will get you goals. I still maintain someone like Decore's got to get 4 or 5 goals this season. He's got to. And then whoever plays wide, if they come in, you need goals.
I'd say, just finally before we go, I'd say it's about now getting players back and keeping the same 8, which includes, 5 of our best players on the pitch every single week. Yeah. And then if you have to change a couple, you have to change a couple. But if we can get that going for the next 6-7 weeks, once Richarlison's back, going into December, and then you're just swapping a couple here and there to get through, then that
we'll be all right.
We'll be all right. We'll win games of football. We'll beat a lot of teams. Yeah. But if we're having to chop and change every single week, that's the problem. Yeah. And hopefully that won't happen. And I'm looking at thinking, well, two of them were suspensions on Sunday for a start. Yeah. So can we cut that nonsense out for a start? And
Ritchie hasn't really got going if you think about it this year. He's been great, but
no goals, but he's still...
No, he's been great, but he limped off against West Ham.
No.
He limped off against Brighton after 25 minutes. He was then red card. He was injured when he played against Liverpool and was red carded. Yeah. So when he played Fulham, hopefully he's fully fit. Yeah, he's been fit.
He'll have had a game or so for Brazil under his belt as well.
So hopefully we'll have him back and it'll take...
I actually think, and this is something we haven't even spoke about in the opening weeks of the season because we haven't had to, but Mason Holgate to me is going to make a massive difference to this team. A massive difference.
Pace,
I think we all forget how when he got injured in that game, how we all just went shit. Yeah. Because it was suddenly playing 2 stoppers.
He's done all right.
He's done all right, but we've conceded goals every game bar 1.
No, but you have to change it now. Yeah. You have to change it now. You can't keep letting 2 goals in. So,
but you have to have someone to come in, and that's the difference with centre backs. Yeah. Is that now? Yeah, I mean it is. Look, the day we signed Godfrey, he had a brilliant game against Brighton. Why? Because it was there. But you know what? Sometimes players need to be taken out of the team for their own good, for their own sake. Yerry Mina might look at it and go, actually, I have been crap. Or Yerry Mina might be going, do you know, for the last 3 weeks I've been carrying an injury that I asked to be left out the Columbia team because they did have cover, but Everton don't have cover, and actually I'm paid by Everton, and I'll run through brick walls for Everton, and that's just the way it is sometimes. So he might be like, you know what, get him back, give me a bit of a rest, and actually you'll see some players will be like, you're not seeing the best of me because of...
You don't know, do you?
You don't know.
Because they don't
I remember someone saying, I can't remember who it was, and I've heard loads of players saying it, but I'm sure I heard Leighton Baines say it a while ago. He's like, players are never fit. They're never fit. He said, you think we turn up on a weekend and we're like ready to go, or you think like they have fitness tests and it's like some mad like, it's like, you know, I remember when I was a kid and you were like on a fitness test, I thought he went somewhere and some doctor, it's like, they run up and down and you go, you're right, yeah. And it's not...
run up the park end.
Yeah, it's not...
On a Saturday morning.
It's the player. It's like why Richarlison probably would have said for the Brighton game,
I'm fit.
Because he wants to play. Yeah, I mean, it's like... I've heard loads of players say...
Some players, like Les Ferdinand and people like Louis Saha, would go, no, I'm not fit. Yeah. Even if they could have got through everything. Duncan, seen Duncan's scars when he was in here. It was like, I played when I should never have played for Everton because I was in, but I wanted to help the team. You'll have done it at any level. Yeah. You'll have played games and you think, I'm not fit really, but I want to play, I don't want to miss the game. And you just do enough to get through. We turn up used to turn up. We switch the telly on at 3 o'clock on a Saturday or whenever it is now and expect our players to be at 100%. Unless you've got the Klopp juice.
No one's ever fit. No one's ever pain-free. No. Like in the old days, there was ways around, they used to just throw an injection in your knee.
There is now. With some
of course there is, you know.
Like, doesn't it?
Jesus juice and all that. But in the old days, used to give you a little cortisone. Yeah. And that's why...
Just numbed you.
Yeah, and that's why loads of footballers can't, who played years ago, don't have knees anymore. Yeah. Well, Tommy Schmidt famously was just like, couldn't walk. No. And he was like, because I used to have cortisone injections every week. Every week.
Supposed to have 2 in a year maximum.
Every week. People like Paul McGrath. And then what did he do? In the old days, he used to do bevy during the week to get rid of the pain. You know, because they were permanently in pain. And it's the same now, footballers play with all kinds of ailments every single week. So you need someone to come in and go, oh, why isn't he playing this week? Oh, whatever, you know what I mean? But you need that, being able to... And I think Minshall coming back will be a big difference.
It'll be huge because A, he's got the pace, B, he's got that bit of niggle about him, which I think you need. And C, he's great on the ball, isn't he? And it'll just calm everything down as well.
I think so. There you go. The big thanks for your question. Get your videos in now. We prefer them.
Get them in all week because it gives us more opportunity to do videos.
You're giving us something to spark our conversation. Sometimes we think, we already spoke about that. But if you ask for it, so make sure you get your questions and just video. And you know what? Video, whichever way, I'm not asked. I've got a nice little thing now for the side to colour to make it look cool. So I don't I don't really care. Just get them in. Just if you've got a question, rather than writing them, just go like that.
10 seconds.
10 seconds, 20 seconds gives you a chance to get what you think off your chest. Send them over either via WeTransfer. Just go on WeTransfer.com. You just upload your video to our email, toffeetv1@gmail.com.
It's free.
It's free. It doesn't cost any money. Or WhatsApp them over. If you need the number, messages on Patreon. And you can do it. Dead easy, 10 seconds. There you go. Get in the habit of doing it. Some people used to send them to us every single week. Where have those people gone?
Yeah.
Where have those people gone?
Steve Kelly.
But, yeah. There you go. And you know what? We're about to go into lockdown. So
get as many over as you can. There's no excuse then.
You'll all be... I'm not saying everyone's going to be sitting home, because I know that doesn't work like that. But people will be sitting at home. They'll be looking for something to watch. If you send a video in, we'll do a video. Honestly, we could do them all day. We could just regurgitate stuff all day. It doesn't matter to us.
It'd be interesting.
So get them in. There you go. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.